I think to get practice, like compared to like playing against the Euros, like there's pretty limited practice in Australia. At the moment, just like there's a lot of teams like making roster moves and like teams like dying, which used to have good players on them. So it's pretty hard to get like high level practice. But there are like teams. There's like a pool of like 5 teams we play. And like sometimes we only play them like once a week, and there's teams like we play every day, like Eliminators and Greyhound. We play like almost every day. Um, but there are teams. It's not just us in Greyhound, you know. Like we still do find practice when Greyhound overseas. Yeah.
But yeah, we were available. I'm not sure what their reason was. Like maybe I don't know what their schedule is, but maybe they were tired and they just wanted to take a break. But I assume they just said in the team like, let's just make sure we keep playing the game like until the tournament comes up. So I guess that's what they had to do.
Jared says they're pussies.
Some teams still have stuff to offer, like to verse. Like I think scrimming is way better. Like scrimming and actually just focusing on yourselves is like way better than not playing and just trying to play individual prac. Like you miss a lot of things like comms and like you still miss stuff without playing. So yeah, obviously they can just run over a lot of people easily, but maybe they could like look inwards a bit more, you know? I don't know.
I do kind of think sometimes it's just better to watch demos and stuff than from a lower tier team. If you're not feeling like 100% on all your spots, I do think it can be more beneficial to like watch them demos or like go over like a site or like dry run than like scrim a team you're probably gonna like 29-1.
I think it's been a thing in the scene for a while. Like when Rooster have their core 5, they're pretty good, like for the most part, I think. Greyhound, I'll be honest, they have like probably trolled us a couple times, like descending, like absolutely just sending it down fucking mid or something.
Like close to events, like both teams kind of know it's like like no one's really like trying to play to win, and I think it's fine not to like you're not meant to like go all out every scrim and trying to win, but it's bad when it gets like both teams know like everyone's trying like 50%, like and then I think that leads to it's like fuck it, like these guys aren't even trying to beat us, like why wouldn't I like speed up a scrim? Yeah, practice against each other. It's not as much trolling if it's like there's like a lull period, like everyone's just practicing for like a different tournament. Like if we're trying to practice for ESL and they're trying to practice a major, like it's really good. Like we had like a lot of it out of those scrims both teams.
I don't think that's a real possibility at all. We shouldn't rag on them for staying here, you know, like it's a pretty good life for them. Like they're really good players, so they just get to qual overseas. Like it's an easy, like it's good for them, you know. So I don't think we should get angry at them for staying. Also, I don't think it should lack motivation. Obviously, you'd want to knock them off the top, you know. I think you want to be working as hard as them, or like if not harder than them, try and beat them. But I can only see this motivation affecting people outside us, like the top like 3, like the possibilities of people like making it to the actual spots. I think like lower tier teams would maybe find like a motivation, like, oh, what are we calling for, like what are we playing for, because they don't even have like grassroots lands or something. Like you remember back in the day, like they could make a little like top 4 LAN or a top, like those little ESLs that are really sick. I don't know if it's that they've why they've stopped. I think so, quite a lot. Like, just in general, you don't get punished as much versus these other teams. Like, I don't know if it's just they're less sharper or like, sometimes it's pretty bad that you feel like you could do anything and just win, you know? Like, I don't know if it's like toxic to say, but yeah.
But a lot of the time, I feel like the drop off is like individuals. Like you're playing players that like don't know how to play their spot, or like there'll be some teams where it's like if you hit one site, even if it's stacked, you'll just win it every time, and it doesn't matter just because like one person doesn't know how to play their spot in CT. So you can only hit one site, and they know you like have to hit, like they know you're just hitting A the whole time, because like A knows how to play properly. But if you hit B, like I don't know, it's like a waste of time because anything you do, it'll just work. Yeah.
I was laughing quite a bit off mic.
Yeah. I think like the reason why they don't have the knowledge is because of the attitude. Like people aren't trying to be the best they can be. There's like a level of players right now, you can like tell in FPL where they think it's like cringe to like try and like get better. That attitude kind of like permeates like some of the lower part of the scene, I think.
It's such a weird mentality, but then there's
It
the guys
is.
that probably have more hours the past 2 weeks than some of the pros as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
true.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just like keeping a core of players and like just keep on playing like events and seasons together. You can make roster moves, but you can't break like the core of a team because otherwise like all your knowledge resets. Just putting a lot of effort into like understanding your spots, making sure like the individual part of a game is like top tier, like you're playing properly, you're thinking properly, and then just like trying to learn from better players and not trying to like just gimmick your way to like getting better. Not like just doing DM and like learning like a bunch of one-way swings, like understanding like how map control works, how you take map control, understanding how to execute, just knowing like everything about the game. Usually you prioritize like hardworking players. Like for me, like when we started, like we did a team of players that were like really like not that good at the start, but everyone worked so hard and they became like sick. Everyone thinks of like PZ, like Ruffleco and stuff as like really good players, but back then like James didn't know how to counter strafe, you know? Like we had to like learn so much to get better. Just because someone would be like a better player on your team now doesn't mean it makes sense to like get them. Like it's more important that their attitude is good, they're gonna keep on improving. You just want to be getting better faster than other teams are getting better, and you'll always like improve your like rank in the scene, and you'll start qualifying for spots. I wasn't on a team good enough to have an in-game leader, so like I kind of self-taught myself the whole time. There was points where I felt stuck, or I felt like I was close enough or friendly enough with like better players, where I would just message them and ask them for advice, and that helped like a ton. Originally, the person I messaged was like APOC when he was on like Genuine, and they were like a fringe top 4 team, but we were like top 50, so like we sucked. So like we were like asking him for help, but like we messaged him. I think I used to message like Kingfisher, and I used to message Malta. I actually ended up playing on a team with all of the people I asked. Good players usually want to share that knowledge. If a nerd is like really good at something, like they're gonna want to talk about it, you know? So you just need to like ask for advice, like how do you get better at this? And like everyone's like super excited to talk about it. I know, like a player like not in the top 8, like ask me for advice. Like I'll always like want to help them.
Yeah.
There was a player like he just kept on asking like me and some of my teammates for advice. He got so good, we're like, bro, you're like beating us on maps now. Like stop asking for advice. I'm not helping you anymore.
Yeah, I don't think an org or like a salary matters that much. Like it just depends on your love for the game. The only thing that would like really help would be like obviously like a coach or an analyst. It means a lot more to the IGL because it takes some of his stresses away, like making a game plan for a match or like just common like analyst work. Like a coach can do that too. Like I remember watching a couple demos with David Kingfisher, and like I feel like you just get a lot more when you have someone there. So like that's what a coach is really beneficial for, like an outside perspective.
I remember we had him more like long term, but we had like Blitz as a coach, and it was like insane. As a person, like he was just very good at like breaking down systems for learning, and I think that's something like I'll take with me like the whole time. But I'm sure if you ask like players who have played on like top teams, just like get like an hour coaching session with him, like talk to them about whatever you want to talk to. Maybe like watch your demo. I think it would like help.